Welcome to episode number 8. I hope you're enjoying that Christmas music. Just one more week of Christmas music, then we'll get back to the jams. Episode number 8 is brought to you by John Deere. I know that we all know John Deere for producing high quality equipment, but I want to let you know they're also involved in the financial side, the number side of farming with a program called Harvest Profit. In collaboration with our John Deere Operations Center, Harvest Profit is super easy to set up. We've set up our 24 plan already with multiple scenarios in it. Of course, folks, I am all about the numbers, and I encourage you to give yourself a financial boot camp here for 2024. I have been talking about this for the last month or so. Put the work in, get your numbers down, figure out what your break evens are, figure out where your margin's going to come from, because it looks like they are tightening up here in 2024. And of course, if you're interested in Harvest Profit, you can check him out at harvestprofit.com. You can reach out to Jarrett, and he will hook you up with a demo, and also can get you 25% off your first year subscription. So mention the show when you reach out to the folks at Harvest Profit. They are part of the John Deere portfolio. I also want to do a quick welcome to Ag I3. They are a new sponsor joining the program here as well. Their website is AGI3. So that's agi3.ai. You can also find them on Twitter. Again, that's AgI3. And we are going to do a whole bunch of stuff with them in the new year. But if you're interested in risk management for your farm in 2024, they have a couple of insurance options available for you to review. Again, that is Ag I3. All right, it is Positive Friday, folks. So let's take a moment here to get some positivity going in our lives. Now, I'm asking you today to help me out a little bit here. And I want to create, or today's positive moment is more about creating some positive energy for my pal Steve. Steve is on his way to a doctor's appointment here this Positive Friday. And it's one of those appointments where you're reviewing a game plan, a serious game plan to get yourself get back to health. And I can't swear on the show. It's a family show, but you know that word cancer, I just want to put out the old F-bomb towards cancer because it's not right. And I've known Steve for 13 years. Today's a big day for him. Steve's a great human being and runs one heck of a farm. And so, buddy, I just want to say good luck today. All of us in Ag, we're rallying for you. We're sending you our positive energy, our positive vibes. And I look forward to getting together next week for a little bit of Christmas cheer, man. So whatever comes at you today, we're here for you, pal. And best of luck. Moving on from that, tough to segue from that, but I've been dressed as Buddy the Elf. You may have seen it across our social media feeds, and YouTube now is exploding. It is Trent plus more people. So we had some views on YouTube, which was great and appreciated, as I have been dressing and singing as Buddy the Elf. There are many different ways to get in touch with the show. You can text me 1-855-606-1889. That comes to me. You can email me at whatthefutures@gmail.com. Of course, we're on LinkedIn, Instagram, X, Facebook. Come say hi. I really appreciate the comments and the feedback that we get. And of course, the website is whatthefuturespodcast.ca. So for today's show, we'll talk about the 12 days of Christmas here just real quick. We'll get to our veggies. There are a little bit of, a couple more things here that I want to talk about for hard work that we need to do. So let's get to our veggies. Zoltan's going to hit us up with a question. Chuck Penner's going to join us for a great segment on India and yellow peas. After we're done with Chuck, we will go to top bids across the prairies and other ag headlines. And then I just have some comments and thoughts. If you are with Patterson Grain and tuning into the podcast today, I want you to stick it out all the way to the end because I have something I want to ask you. You're great people, but I need your help. Okay, Patterson? I need your help. Stick it out to the end of the episode. All right, 12 days of Christmas. We've been having some fun with this across our social platforms. I've been singing a tune every single time, giving away some great prizes. Corey in Randolph, Manitoba. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Your words were appreciated. He won a sweet gift basket of Christmas treats that's in the mail today, along with some What the Future's swag. So you should get that in time for the holidays. And we also had Bradford, who won the day 2 prize from Taurus Ag. Combine is on deck here today as I speak. That's across our socials. We should have Yak of all trades tomorrow. We've got What the Future's on Sunday. Actually, 2 great prizes here for the weekend, and it doesn't stop. On Monday, we've got Ag i3. Tuesday, we've got combine settings. The list goes on and on. There's curling brooms. There's Costco gift cards. There's Yeti coolers. It's like a 1 in 10 chance of winning so far, folks. You just have to go to Twitter, like the post, give us a little bit of love, and you get your name entered for that. So go check it out. Alrighty. Lots of fantastic little prizes up for grabs. All right, now let's get to our veggies. Let's get to our hard work here. Let's focus on some key things that we can take away. I want to remind you that you should always seek the advice of a professional. All right, this is for information purposes only. Prices change very quickly. Strategies change quickly as well. And yeah, I've done this for a few years, but I don't know each and every one of you personally. I wish I did. So just seek out that professional if you need some help making some of these decisions. The themes continue to be the same, and there's some updates in here, but the themes are generally speaking undersold producers across North America. If it's U.S. or Canada, producers feeling undersold. I don't have enough grain sold, or I have less sold than what I would like to have at this time of year. All right. We have a lower trending canola market. It actually looks like it might be making a new low here Friday morning. On the positive side, we've got stability in wheat prices, a lot of wheat being sold. Chuck's going to talk about our record export pace here in just a little bit. But that's been a bit of a shining star. And then, of course, pea prices here. I know yellow peas have made the drastic jump higher by a couple bucks a bushel, but green peas are higher from what I can tell. Green peas, I saw an 18 out there. I think that's a high. I saw maple peas at 26 bucks a bushel as well. I think that's a new high. So it's not all doom and gloom out there, folks, but it is a stressful time. So here's a couple things that you can focus on right now. I want to start off. I've got 5 points, but number one, I got called out last week. I got called out by a farmer about my point that December is not a great time to sell grain. Okay. And I gotta, eat a little crow here or say touche because he's right. He was upset because he sold a large portion of wheat. He wasn't upset. He was just wanted to talk about it. And we did see nice gains across wheat futures. Minneapolis wheat was rallying. Kansas wheat was rallying. Chicago wheat was rallying as well, and provided him the opportunity to sell some $9 CPS red wheat. Now, the cool thing about this is that this farm had identified the sell target well in advance. The market was doing its thing, going lower, on and on, but the target remained. And he got the call on the Friday saying, "Hey, your $9 target is triggered." He made the sale, and it's fantastic that he made that sale. Multiple things happened. Futures rallied, basis held in for him, and he was able to execute a plan that was set in motion weeks ago. And he didn't stray from that. So even though I said, yeah, December's not a great time to market, there are opportunities out there. And of course, there's the yellow pea story as well. But the important thing here is that he stuck to his plan and then he executed. I should say they executed the plan. He's got 35,000 bushels of wheat movement. He's got cash flow coming. Stuck with the plan. And that's important. If you have a plan, to have a plan and to stick with it as well. So the general statement of December isn't a great time to sell grain. Okay, there's there's definitely some points there where you can make some good sales too. So good on you, great sale, and I'm sure that one's going to play out really well for you. Now, the second thing for today is it's the end of the year. I know you've been busy this fall. My buddy Scott in Lloydminster, I believe he was in the field yesterday with a rock picker. So I think his title on Facebook was The Never Ending Fall. So you're getting a lot of work done. It's fantastic. But also take some time here this next week or so before the Christmas holidays and just do like a winter, call it like a year end review on your crop marketing plan. Identify your cash flow needs moving forward. And I'm like specifically talking about January, February, March. April, May, I'm not as concerned about, but of course, you should identify what you need there and get that in place. Review your break evens. I don't know if you've had a time to sit down and do that yet, but review what you need per bushel here from the 2023 crop. And then from there, maybe you have a margin goal that you can update. Maybe you're looking to make $300 an acre of profit, and that number is different now. Maybe have a conversation about or take some time to think about what that margin goal could be, or if that's still achievable in your opinion. And then create that workflow schedule. When you sell grain, there's obviously two portions. You've got the delivery opportunity, and then you've got price as well. So when I talk about workflow, when do you need to get the work done? Because sometimes you need to get the work done and you're not necessarily in agreement with what's going on with price, or you've got some different goals on price or some different thoughts about where price is headed. But if you're sitting here and saying, geez, I need to get the trucks scheduled and moving, I need to get my work spread out, you can do that as well. And you can handle price a little bit differently. There's strategies you can use to manage the pricing side of your contract. So an important time right now to just sit there and review what you need, because cash flow needs come at you fast and hard in Jan, Feb, March. We all have bills to pay in January. Crop input loans start getting due in January. You should pay them off early as well. Interest rates are killing you. February, it hits you. March, you got equipment payments coming. Rent's due in April again. Like it comes at you fast and hard. So just take the time to get that sorted out now. All right. So please do that for me. Number 3 for today, yellow peas. You've gained. Well, I don't know what you've gained. You've gained a couple dollars a bushel, right? I actually saw a bid today as low as $11 on one broker sheet, and Chuck's going to mention this in a few minutes, but just make a few phone calls because $14 is out there. But you've gained a couple dollars a bushel. If that's a 40 bushel crop, that's $80 an acre. 50 bushel crop, $100 an acre, right? This is a rally from India. Take advantage of this. All right, put some of that money in the bank. How many acres did you grow? How many dollars per acre did you gain here? Put some of that money in the bank, because as you can tell, there's crops that you look at today and you cannot see that same type of result. We've had a nice pop here. Don't be a stranger. Take advantage. And if it's going to keep rallying, maybe you won't sell it all. But there's also that crop for next fall. Chuck explains it better here in a few minutes. So tune in for him. And then lastly, 4 and 5 is more about your crop input decisions. Now, what did I say about fertilizer, folks? I know it's only up $20 a ton this week, but I told you to hustle in there and get it done. And good work if you did, because phos was up 20, urea was up, it looked like 20, 25 to me, dollars a ton. So good on you. And I know lots of crop input decisions are being made, lots of action, lots of sales. Make those extra phone calls though, folks. I know you've got your dedicated retailer that you want to work with, but I am as per usual and always, there is price discrepancies out there, and it's tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars at the end of the year when you look at it. So make that extra phone call. Lots of sales out there, lots of Christmas pre-buy or whatever's going on. All right, Zoltan is up next. He hit us with a question this week. He got himself entered to potentially win a bag of canola seed next week from Jacob and Becky Boychuk of Pioneer Seeds. We are going to pick our first winner for next week's episode. So hurry up if you want a chance to win. I think today it's like 1 in 6 or 1 in 7 chance of winning this canola seed. All you have to do is go to the website, click the voicemail button. You can leave me a voicemail. You can send me a text message. You can send me an email. All that qualifies you to potentially win this bag of P516L, which we're drawing for next week. And the odds are phenomenal. This is what, an $800 prize? Yeah, get after it, folks. I can't force you to do it, but a heck of a prize with some pretty good odds there. So Zoltan wants to know what's happening with yellow peas. Let's bring in friend of the show, Chuck Penner, to tackle this one. All right, folks. Well, you asked the question earlier this week, Zoltan coming in and asking us to cover yellow peas in episode number 8. I've got with me once again Chuck Penner, the expert in all things India, on the show. And of course, you guys know that by Zoltan asking the question, he gets entered to potentially win a bag of P516L canola seed from Pioneer Seeds. That's Jacob and Becky Boychuk. Chuck, welcome to this week's episode. How is your week going?
Well, it's going pretty well. Getting close to Christmas, and Mr. Bezos has been fulfilling all of my Christmas wishes, so that's great.
Yeah, he's been busy here as well. Very busy. But it's I gotta admit, it's just so easy. It's
Oh yeah,
easy. Yeah.
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 I found a 7/8 inch Brad Point drill bit online. I don't know how many stores I would have had to drive around to find that particular drill bit, and so yeah,
I,
it is too easy.
I'm not sure who the lucky person is getting that gift, but
That's
there
that's
you
for
go,
me.
Chuck. All right, let's talk about India. I'm sure you've been all over, this week chatting about India and yellow peas with all sorts of folks. But why don't you give us the what the futures version of what's happening with the yellow pea market and what's going on in India?
Sure. Well, it has been kind of an interesting week or a little more, I guess now, or about a week or so. And yeah, it's something that we talk about these black swan events, right?
Hmm.
This one would probably be maybe a gray swan, um, because we've been watching pea prices in India for months now and kind of been saying, it could happen. And then first, wow, no, really low odds. And then, oh, no, it's getting maybe, and we got up to about a 50-50 uh,
Hmm.
a split on it by the time the announcement was finally made. So it wasn't that we couldn't see it coming. It's just with the Indian government, you just don't know for sure what they're going to decide. Uh, but I think the key point in all of this is that if there was not an Indian election coming up next spring, I think it's in April. If
Hmm.
that wasn't coming up right now, this probably would not have happened.
Right.
So pea prices have been taking off in India, and the government there, of course, has to keep consumers happy with by trying to rein in food prices,
Hmm.
and so it was something that was becoming more closer and closer to reality, and so that's really what's been driving this thing is this re-election hype and trying to get that going. So we saw pea prices go up, and they actually went in India. They went up higher than the Desi chickpea prices, and
Okay.
so that to me was a bit of a signal that they might do this. So the Indian government about a week ago said we are taking the 50%, knocking off the 50% tariff on yellow pea imports. So yellow peas specifically, and there's also a deadline on this thing. So it's March 31st of 2024, and so again, that's getting close to their election. It's also when their marketing year ends off, so it runs from
Okay.
April to March. That's also coinciding with that, and it's also about the time when they would be harvesting their own pea crop. So they're planting it
Oh,
now,
okay.
and that's about when that harvest would be. So it would give them time to see whether that crop is looking okay, and other ones too, like Desi chickpeas, because that's the substitute, yellow peas for Desi chickpeas. So that's the substitute. So it gives them a chance to sort of see where those crops are coming in, and their red lentil crop and so
Hmm.
on. So that's the time frame that we're looking at, which doesn't make it a long-term bullish story. It
Hmm.
maybe makes it more of a temporary bullish story with the potential of it going longer. So
Right.
that's kind of where it's at. And if you think about how long it takes, for example, to get peas from central Saskatchewan or Alberta to the west, into an elevator, onto a rail car, out to the west coast, onto a ship, across the ocean, get unloaded in
In the
India.
yeah.
We're getting close, or we're not. Generally you kind of look at about maybe 6 weeks or so.
Yeah.
So if you back that off from the end of March, then you're kind of at the middle of no, sorry. But then you're in the middle of February, but nobody's going to want to take a real strong position before that. So, maybe this business will last till till mid-January, and then it'll
Mhm.
go quiet again. I'm expecting, because I don't think the Indian government would say, okay, we're going to extend this until we get right in around that end of March. So you could see a surge of movement now, then it goes quiet, and then we'll see. We just don't know.
I wonder I wonder if like I, I wonder if it's going to spread to any other crops, or do you think it could spread to any other crops over the next couple months?
Well, I'm not sure. Indian pea prices have taken off. Other pulses, not so much. And in
Hmm.
fact, lentils. Well, what happened? Back it up a little bit here. When this zero tariff was announced, we saw, of course, bids go up here, but pea prices in India dropped by about $100 a ton, just like that. So it did what it was supposed to do. And even things like desi chickpeas and even red lentils did drop a little bit. And I don't know that that's going to stick around or be ongoing, but it is a signal that they're serious about trying to do this. Most other pulse crops don't have any tariffs, so there's
Okay.
nothing really for
Yep.
them to take off or further for them to enhance that. So that's not necessarily going to be the case. So we'll see how that rolls out. But it is kind of interesting. Also, the other thing that I want to highlight is that only some companies, and I'm not going to mention any names on the show, but
Hmm.
only some companies seem to be participating in this. So when this announcement came out, some companies raised their bids very quickly, and other ones really didn't budge. And so that suggests that they're on the sidelines for this business, and so it's
Yep.
not an across the board. So that's why farmers would want to phone around and see who's in this and who isn't. And again, I'm not going to plug any particular company. So uh,
So Thursday of last week, I finished the episode. It gets edited. And in the episode, yellow peas, I think, go up to $12 in March. And my comment was like, I wonder if China's in the market buying yellow peas. I hit send on the episode, article pops up about India. I'm like, okay. Yep, I'm gonna look real smart on this one tomorrow. But the price goes up. On Friday, I get a couple phone calls of scrambling. The price is $13 a bushel. What do we do? Chaos. And then all of a sudden, Monday morning, the same locations, same phone call. It's now $14. Now what do we do? I'm like, the price has climbed like 25% here in the last week or a
yeah,
couple days. If you grow 40, 50 bushels, 80, $100 an acre, I don't know, follow the money, I think.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think the danger is waiting. I mean, we probably have a few weeks yet to wait, but once these sales are filled, they're going to be filled, and then
Yeah.
what, right? Yes, we've drained more peas out of the Western Canadian supply, no question, and so China will have a little bit harder time finding peas as well too. It was interesting. A few days after early this week, I was looking at pea offer prices in China, and
Mhm.
there weren't any. So nobody, like Canadians, Russians, Aussies, nobody was offering peas into China because
Mhm.
they're going, well, geez, maybe we can get a better price over here in India.
Yeah.
So if China wants to keep buying, they'll have to up the ante as well too. So it will help draw some off, but it's not going to be just Canadian peas that India is buying. They can
Yeah.
also buy from Russia. They can also buy from Australia, maybe a few from the U.S. So we're not the only game in town.
Yeah. Well, who knows what this window looks like in the future, but it looks like a great opportunity to grab onto right now. And honestly, if it is going to get extended, maybe it's that fall of 24 bid that gets a bit of action there, because it looked pretty quiet to me when I was looking around for
Yeah.
fall of next year,
Yeah,
and
nobody's sticking their neck out yet
yeah, so
assuming that this opportunity will still be there next fall. So no new crop
yeah,
bids. They're few and far between, and they did not budge at all.
yeah. Well, I know what I would be doing if I had yellow peas on the farm, but I'll let everyone make those decisions for themselves. Anything else about India, Chuck? I wanted to get into volatility of wheat futures next.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I mean, while wheat is one that there's that question too of whether India will switch from an exporter. Well, they haven't exported for a while now, but they might become an importer of wheat. So that's an
Hmm.
open question as well too. Uh, but I don't think anybody's really trading that yet. It's not really a reality, and I think they will wait a little bit till a little bit further into this winter, this rabi season. Now they are planting wheat as well too, and they did get a bit of rain. There's more parts of India that got rain in this rabi season. So earlier it looked kind of scary dry. Now well, it just kicked the can down the road more so than anything. But yeah,
Hmm.
it's looking a little more reasonable now, and that applies to the pulses as well.
Um, I've noticed so spring wheat futures, the one day they're down 20 odd cents, the next day they're up 20 odd cents. I can't really find the reasons behind it. Are you seeing any reasons for that? Is there anything else that comes to mind with this volatility?
No, at this point in the season, we're really not talking about supply side. If typically when you get
Mhm.
volatility in the market from a fundamental perspective, from supply and demand type stuff, it comes from crop failures or production issues, those kind of things. That's where you get volatility. We're kind of at the stage of the year now where the southern hemisphere wheat crops are harvested or mostly harvested in
Yeah.
Australia and Argentina. So there's really no surprises on the supply side anymore, and demand things tend to be more slow moving. You'll get a tender here or there, those kind of things, but it really doesn't have that much tend to have that much ability to move the market, like you said, 20 cents a day or those kind of things. So it just feels, and I would say that's probably applies to canola as well too. You don't have fundamental issues that are causing those, that type of volatility, that type of daily move up and down and up and back again. There aren't fundamental issues that are driving that. It is more spec and spread trade.
Yep.
Um, so that's kind of what you're getting from that. So it's, when people ask, well, why is it happening? Well, because I can't give you a fundamental reason. I'm just
Yep.
because that's the momentum in the that spec traders have today, and maybe some stops got triggered, and some of those kind of things. That's what
Yep.
that's what's moving that. It's not um, whatever. I mean, I am friendly in the wheat market from a medium to long term perspective, and when you look at futures, in spite of that volatility, that day to day volatility, it feels like it's carving out a bit of a low, like one of these bowl bottoms that we sometimes talk about. So it
Mhm.
feels like we're coming out the other side of that, and so that to me is friendly. From a Canadian perspective, I threw a chart on Twitter the other day or yesterday, maybe, or was it even today? Anyway, and it shows that we are exporting wheat at a record pace. We've put
Saw
out
that. Yep.
6.9 million tons in the first 18 weeks. We've never done that before.
Yep.
So that means we're going to be getting really tight on wheat supplies. So even if futures don't move much, the basis should tighten up as we get further into the year, and it gets harder and harder to pry that wheat out of farmers' hands.
Yep. Good point. Great. One last thing here, actually, two quick things. Crop rankings come out next week.
Yes, they do.
All right. Any early surprise? Anything you want to
Well,
throw
it
out?
is kind of interesting, this yellow pea discussion that we had.
Yeah.
How much influence is that going to have? Are farmers just going to say, I'm not going to bet the farm on it, or even bet that quarter on it? I don't know. So that one's a little bit tough. Um, if I had to say, I would lean away from barley acres.
Mhm.
Oats is really there's lots of optimism for oat prices, but it still hasn't really gotten to where it's going to get people excited to get back
Yeah.
into oats after last year's, slashing the acres. Whether they're going to get back in this year, spring wheat might do okay.
Yep.
Canola, yeah, canola's a bit of a, especially it's got lots of negative news lately, so that might be a little difficult. So, if I
Okay.
may, I may plug. So next week, if people want to get that report, they can get it for free. And the bonus is that you will also be making us pay $50 toward food banks in Western Canada. So
Ah,
all you got to do is go to our website at leftfieldcr.com, and right on the homepage there's a free trial link there somewhere. And so if you click on that and you want to get a free report, we do free 4 week trials. So this acreage one would be the first of that. And so if you want to get in on that and help support some folks who need some help this Christmas, please go there and make us pay up.
that's fantastic. Good on you guys for doing that, Chuck. I'm going to leave it on that positive note. And you heard the man, folks. Get out there, get that free trial going, and let's help feed those in need from the generosity of Leftfield Commodities. Thanks so much, Chuck. Have a very Merry Christmas. I look forward to connecting again in 2024.
You too, Ryan. Have a great vacation break and a good Christmas.
Thank you. Always some great content coming at us from Chuck. He's a great guy to get on the show. Smart guy, lots of information. So hopefully that you can take away a couple of key points out of there. Now, I want to talk just briefly top bids, maybe other ag headlines here to watch, futures moves. We'll get this wrapped up here in short order. So top bids, again, the surprises in the pea market. So yellow peas, negotiate your yellow pea price, folks. $14 a bushel is kind of the high mark I've seen here so far. Green peas at 18, maples at 26. We talked about that already. Other than that, I see a new crop durum price at $11 a bushel. I'm not sure how excited folks will get about that. But hey, it's out there, so wanted to mention it. Other than that, for top bids, canola, I've got like a 1525 to 1550 at some of your crushers in the winter months and into spring and summer of 24. A lot of 14s out there, a lot of low 14s, but some of those crushers still in that lower mid 15s. Wheat prices, spring wheat prices, again, lots in the nines, mid nines, 950, 980, 990 in that range. Haven't seen a $10 bid pop up here on hardwood spring wheat lately, but maybe it's out there. Other than that, folks, like oats trending sideways to maybe a touch lower. Yeah, touch lower. Feed barley also trading a little bit lower here as well. Now it's just super quiet out there on feed barley. I was chatting with David from Marketplace, and he said, he's got some buyers in. I think the example he was using was picked up the Highway 16 in Alberta, but it was like a 560-ish or something like that. Of course, that's subject to change, but he actually had buyers looking for feed barley just over the $5 mark. So he said once he cleared the 560, once that demand, was gone, there was a significant drop that could happen below that. Now, I said, well, what's going on with that buyer? Like, why would they even throw that out there? Well, that's the number they would need to switch from corn. So if they don't get that low, they'll just keep buying the corn instead. All right, other headlines to watch here. Brazilian weather, again, we're kind of talking about this way too much, but it stays dry over the weekend here. Central and northern areas are expected to get rain starting on Tuesday, and they do have the best chance of rain during Christmas as well. There's a stat out there saying that 52% of the Brazilian soybean growing area has had less than half of its normal rainfall to date. Now, market's not super excited about this, trading kind of sideways here to lower for soybeans. One of the reasons is that when you see the latest estimates of 160 million tons, Last year's Brazilian crop was 160 million tons, and it was a new record. So, if we produce 160, 158, 157, whatever the number is, um, it's still a very big crop when you look at all things considered. Now, if the extended forecast gets hotter and drier in January, that's going to lead to an oilseed rally, in my opinion. Time will tell. But that's the latest on Brazilian weather. Other big story for this week, mortgage rates on the decline here once again. The U.S. Fed forecasting 3 rate cuts in 2024. That means your borrowing rates on the decline here as well. That's a good thing. Interest rates pulling back. A soft landing is what everyone's talking about. No recession or again, there's all sorts of articles out there that say this recession will be intense. But the stock market is making some impressive highs. It's like right now, the trade looks at it and says, everyone has this figured out, no major concerns. Interest rates can start to come down a little bit, and it's under control. Now, if recession worries hit, all that sort of thing, there'll be some major moves here. But we saw the US dollar down significantly, the Canadian dollar climbing substantially in correlation with that. And again, something we need to watch here as well. I'm not an expert on economies and interest rates and all that stuff, but certainly a big article this week. Lastly, China was in buying more U.S. soybeans last week. This is the sales that typically don't happen. They typically will move to Brazil and start buying South American supply. But China hedging its bets, also looking at the forecast, wondering what type of rains are coming and maybe securing some supplies. These orders could get canceled, though. We'll see. There was an article saying that China was done buying wheat. Hopefully that's not the case, because that led to a nice little rally in wheat futures. So we'll stay tuned for that. Futures moves here for your positive Friday. We have canola lower at 645 on the January contract. Tough slug in here for canola. Bullish factors remain. You could see a short covering rally. You have near record large short positions. So if they ever get spooked here, you could have a short covering rally. South American weather and Chinese demand all top of mind. Spring wheat remains range bound, plus 6 cents here at 723. That range is 7 to 750. Bullish factors are good demand. Southern hemisphere harvest is in the bin, so less harvest pressure. And India, do they have to import wheat? We'll see. Kansas flat up a penny at 637. The last winter wheat crop rating for the U.S. here for the year came in at 30, or for the winter came in at 39%, good to excellent. Still lots of dryness concerns in the winter wheat belt. Oats have gained 21 cents this week, currently at 371. Cash prices grinding sideways to lower. Soybeans down a couple pennies. We have lost 30 cents here this week. Corn, we've lost a dime, trading at 479. All right, let's wrap up the show here with just a couple of additional thoughts. Now, again, Patterson, you're a fantastic company. I've always enjoyed selling grain to you, but please bring back the Futures First contract. They've pulled this tool away from us. There's been some conflict, some tension, folks not understanding this contract necessarily, and it's made them pivot here and pull this back. What I'm talking about is you could take your wheat futures, lock in a Futures First contract, which would also lock in your foreign exchange, your Canadian dollar moves. And it allowed some fantastic opportunities and some of the highest priced wheat I've seen in my career because of this strategy. Every other company takes that foreign exchange and puts it in your basis. It's a little bit complex. It's a little bit muddy. And the Patterson contracts really allowed you to see what was happening with the demand, and you could really see some clear basis levels. So Patterson, if you're listening, let's come up with a solution. Let's figure out how to get everybody on the same page when executing these contracts, and let's bring back this Futures First, because it's a great tool for farmers to use. What else do I have here? Oh, I wanted to ask, and you can hit me up in comments or emails, but I want to know, how do you guys handle your grading review or grades from your buyer? So here's the example. All right, canola, 13 loads of canola hauled in, average dockage 2.3%. Okay, one load pops up at like 8% dockage. Everything else is averaging in actually the high ones at that point, and then you have this 8% load that pops up. How do you guys handle the conversation? Because it is a little bit intimidating, and I'm talking about like $1,800 or a couple grand here of money. How do you handle that conversation when you see a scenario like that pop up? That's a good day's work, right? A couple $1,000 is a good day's work. So, um, how do you guys handle that? Because it can be a little bit intimidating at times. All right, folks. One more episode before I take a couple of weeks off. I'm just curious. Do you guys want a 2024 predictions episode? I'm going to tell you about my 2023 prediction that I made on January 16th, the next week's episode. It's weird in a way because I guess I was bang on some predictions, but my reasons were not the same as why the markets dropped here for the year. So it just shows you that you can be completely out to lunch and still be right. But anyways, folks, I'm out. Look forward to hearing from you guys, and we'll get back at it next week.